Anyway, it's nice to be here. We've got some interesting developments that have happened, and that's this screen that we've got up here of this wave. One of the machinery, piece of machinery that I'm operating in on the table in there is a weapons development spectrum analyzer, and what it's used for. It's about a $60,000 machine that was developed by Tektronix, and what it does is it enables the aerospace and military to develop weapons-grade electronic attack systems. And one of the things that it does is that when you have a electronic weapon attack, this machine locks onto it and captures that wave. The application is that if we're flying a jet or some kind of military mission and we get ground radar hitting the aircraft, this kind of machinery will then assess the radar and then select a countermeasure to fire back to the ground so that the individual looking on the radar set will see 15 or 20 blips instead of the one aircraft that we're in. So the application on this machine is that it was for making electronic warfare aggressive equipment and also defensive equipment. Now, what we're looking at here and the development that's taken place, and I've seen this before, is that yesterday some government entity was taking a satellite and sending down brain interfering signals. In other words, the whole hotel area, both this area and the other side, was saturated. And what this machine did is it captured that attack wave. I turned the machine on about 8:30 in the morning, and it was there. Now, for the past 5 days, I've been in Sunnyvale doing an assignment over there, and this wave was not present the whole 5 days that I did analysis of the electromagnetic spectrum over there. And so this kind of wave would have the effect to make people nauseated, headaches, you'll feel lethargic, you would feel anxiety. You would not be in a very good mood. You'd be edgy. You would, your body would be telling you it's time to go somewhere else because this place doesn't feel good. Now, this morning, when we turn the system back on again and make another analysis, that wave is gone. So either the satellite that they had in position to expose us to this has moved, or they decided that they just wanted to give us a one solid day dose of it. It did shut down last night just before the banquet, and so we had a good solid 8-10 hours of exposure to this thing. Now, I don't know how many people have been here both days that noticed that today they're feeling a whole lot better than they did yesterday. And I've talked to quite a few people and asked them whether they feel better and whether they felt anything yesterday. And there's been quite a few people that have said that they're feeling a whole lot better today than yesterday. How many people feel better today than yesterday? Quite a few? Yeah, see? So this stuff is the real deal, and the interesting thing about a convention like this is that they're concerned enough about us talking about these matters and all the other related subject matters that your First Amendment rights are in position, but that doesn't mean they're not going to send some kind of attack wave down there to try to discourage the meeting, and that's what happened. I'm going to go ahead and animate this thing so you can see what the actual thing looks like. This is a video that we took of the attack wave in and of itself, and what's going to happen when I initiate it here is you'll get to see exactly how this thing works when you see it real time. It's a frequency hopping wave, and you see how it's jumping all over the spectrum. It's going back and forth. These are short videos, but this gives you the dynamics of what happens with this thing. And these waves are pulsed microwaves, so that they're not only just covering one area, they're sweeping back and forth, and they are causing interference to the brain, because the brain is basically also a computer that uses synapse firings for all your thoughts and body control. I'm going to run this one more time, and I'm going to show you a different view of it because I changed the settings on the machine in terms of trying to make further analysis. This one is the most real-time analysis, and that's why the wave looks like it's going even faster. The next one I'll show you, this machine has different kind of capabilities to make analysis, and so this is not my computer here, so I'm going to be a little slow on it. Let's close that out. It is 1.7 gig, almost 2 gigahertz. The numbers that are on the bottom left right here is the band center, this 1.775 gigahertz. Now in this case I'm using what's known as a marker, and that's going to be this little blip right here you see. Once I animate it, what the blip does, this is what's known as sig track. So it's going to jump around, even though the actual wave that they fired at us is jumping around. The sig track is going to follow it, and you can see that here, that little V that's on the top. And what that does is it moves with the signal as the signal jumps, and as a consequence you can see up in the top up here we're getting a chance to look at the actual power levels. The number that's rotating in the upper right corner says minus 50, 50, 40. What it's doing is summating those different power levels that are being fired at. Now the actual level of this thing, in terms of its power right now, or when we captured it, it's running about 2 times the power of an FM radio station. Now if you think about an FM radio station, normally they can be anywhere from 35 million watts to somewhere in the range of 50 megawatts. So for a signal to come up to these levels where you're roughly twice your ambient FM station means that we're dealing with a fair amount of power coming out of the sky. Get this thing there, run one more time and then we'll move on to the last one. The numbers in the top left is the actual frequency that it's hopping to. It's 1.771, 776. So this is what was being radiated down on all of us from above yesterday all day long. And now that I've told you about it, you can maybe think back also on maybe some things you were feeling yesterday that just weren't quite right. And what would be, because we are archiving this attack, and you know, it's interesting, you don't often get a chance to capture these attacks. Usually they're not so brazen that they're going to want you to see exactly what kind of technology they're using on you. So I've only had maybe 10 attacks or so that I've been able to document like this. One of the other ones was the mind control meeting up in Davis, which was a few years ago with Mary Ann Stratton. I was running machinery up there also, and then we got the same similar kind of attack, and everybody was feeling bad. That particular meeting was in a church that was out in the farm area, a little bit south of Davis. So I went out there with my binoculars to see if I could see any vans or any kind of cell towers or any kind of other sources that could have caused that wave, but there was nothing around. It was, once again, coming straight out of a satellite. In my information here, we'll have a look at what some of those satellites look like as we move towards some of the other systems. But this is a special thing to be able to capture one of these things. Now here's the last animation on this thing. And what I did on this one is I made the bandwidth wider, so we're able to see it jump over a wider range. It doesn't stay at one frequency, and that's one of the reasons that it's so efficient at causing brain interference, is because, you know, it's not just going to resonate one particular speed and one particular frequency. It's moving and jumping, and the overall motion in and of itself has a frequency to it. So this is the real deal satellite type electromagnetic brain interference type of situation. And if you want to see anything further on it, the actual machine that I captured it on is running in the other room on the table, and also we have these QuickTime videos, the video presentations themselves over in the other room as well. So, okay, that's the big news. You got hit directly. If you've been here yesterday and today, you've had the first-hand exposure to what some of these things can do. And of course, what the intent is on developing these weapons is that, you know, we're not going to shoot people with metal bullets anymore. The whole idea is to be able to go to the battlefield and turn on weapons of this nature and jam people's ability to oppose you just because you can cause their thinking and their bodies to be so sick and so overwhelmed and so confused that they will no longer be able to fight. And the nice thing about that is that you don't have to blow up the cities, you don't have to blow up the bridges, you don't have to blow up the infrastructure like we did in Iraq and then have to go spend billions of dollars to fix it. You just jam the people that you want to jam, and that's the outcome.